This sint thara tien hyd a langamera tu scherntuna. Arrest on orden forret, dan on hean doen sweren, esteweren, and swar up and long Wylye is, and on Grimsditch. There are 9 species in this hedge. I thought I'd have a quick look because this is the anglo-saxon boundary of Sheringham in Wiltshire, and so we know the boundary probably is 1,000 years old, and so it seems by the rule of thumb of our friend Hooper, so it seems is this hedge. So I'm making my way up to Great Ridge, and it is a great ridge. It's the watershed between the Nodra in Old English and the Wilige, which is Wylye in Old English. And as I showed on my previous video, the Deva or the Daverail which is Old British, Old Welsh, and it has had remarkable earthworks all along its length, which I will go into in a minute. And the Romans went over the top of those remarkable, along the same alignment as the remarkable earthworks, making their way to the Mendips to get their lead, and stopping off along the way to worship at the temple at Kingston Deverill, which is, as I showed in the previous video. So there's a question I want to ask, which is why I've come out here today. It's a bit of a conceit. I'll come out here anyway to do my YouTube. So the question I want to ask is the Grimsditch, which the Roman road pretty much follows, straightens out. The Grimsditch, is it a road? Is it a holloway rather than a defensive territorial marker, as I've said before? It's nice to be out in the sunshine. It makes all the difference. This video is about the woods, really. It is the woods on top of this ridge that have preserved are not just the wood, also royal control. These were royal forests. The forest of Gravely, and afterwards became chases, which were privatised forests. So nobody was. You were allowed to plough if you had permission, but really at the end of the day, the land was for chasing deer around. So a lot of earthwork survived, and what we might be seeing is survivor bias, and in the sense that because only some things have survived, we think that was the whole of the Romano-British and Iron Age infrastructure in this area was concentrated there. We don't know what was underneath the ploughland, where it was ploughed smooth over 1,500 years. But it is significant in other ways, in the sense that this road, this ridgeway, The ridge itself is a communication route, and with it comes trade, and with it people settle, people set up shop along it to see if they can soak up some of that trade. And that's what we can see with this ridge. Now, when the Romans come along, it's industrialised. It is a massive amount of precious metals move south. But before then, there's still some trade, and there's still just local movement going on. We've got Grovely itself. There's I've seen 2 Iron Age hill forts, and what I think is an oppidum, I don't know, you tell me, which is a Iron Age town. Now, they weren't urban centres, but they were getting very close to it. It's significant in its structure and its size, and that's Grovely. And then you move along, you've got other hill forts and settlements moving along north. Now, these in particular aren't bang on the ridge, they're just north of it. They're facing down onto the Wilige. And the Wilige, Barry Cunliffe, my mate Baz, he says that is the boundary for the Durotriges tribe, which is exciting enough. It does seem militarised. And now, if all you know about history is the First World War, you would describe Grimsditch as a communications trench and the hill forts as a front line, and it doesn't half look like it to me. And this might be because I'm a paid up member of the Armchair Generals Association that I think like that, but it really does very much look like it. So your communications are set back from risk, and your front line is where you would take the brunt, where you would extend your power from. And the river is your no man's land. Now, the English, when they come here, they don't give a toss about the previous infrastructure, the previous political infrastructure. So Wiltshire means, its oldest name means the settlers of the Wylye. So the Wilige wasn't a frontier for them, it was their heartlands. I'm saying, and I think probably perhaps Baz is saying this as well, is that the Grimsditch is their heart, is their spine running through their land, and that's set back from the river. Anyway, I've lost it, I can't find it. I came out with my phone dead, a total surprise to me when I got here, which is why you must know your subject, comrades. So I'm doing this all from memory, but I don't have the map perfectly formed in my memory. So I'm looking for the Grimsditch. I know where it should be. It does touch the public footpath, but I can't find the blooming thing. It does meet up with the path further on, so I'll keep walking and see what I can find. This is the Grimsditch, on the charter, the Saxon charter of Sherrington, and other Saxon charters, and it probably does mean Woden's ditch. Now, I can't see. It looks like the earth is thrown to both sides, which means it's not, probably isn't a defensive arrangement. Could still be a boundary marker. I think it probably is a boundary marker, but I think it's also a road as well. But I might have to come out for a second look. I know where it's easier to see Grimsditch on this ridge, so I might go there next time and have a closer look. So there's another very old road that comes this way, and it's called the Uxtrove, and Tweedy's done a bit on that. I'll put a link in up here, and so what is so we have to ask ourselves why the people weren't using the Ridgeway. It was used in the Iron Age, probably. Then it was the Roman road, that was used in the Roman period. Why did people start using the Uxtrove? Well, the Ridgeway itself and the Roman road leads to Old Sarum. And notice I don't say Salisbury, because Salisbury moved in the Middle Ages from Old Sarum, which is an Iron Age hill fort, and moved south a couple of miles down to the river. I think it's not just the communications and trade benefits of moving down to the river. I think it's well, it is, but it's not just that. Is that Wilton is becoming an important place, and taking a tenth of everybody's corn is just not good enough for the church. So Salisbury moves south a bit. So the passage west from then on has to take into consideration that. So the Uxtrove comes along here, comes very close to here, joins the A303, which you might be able to hear it in front of me, and then carries on westwards. It might or might not become the hard way or Holloway, which it's not Holloway, Harroway, which goes west onwards to the Mendips. So it might not just be the move south to the river of Salisbury. It might also have been, or the dual effect of all this being royal land, forest land, and just people just weren't welcome to be coming through it. The king didn't want people disturbing, certainly not eating his deer. So people had to work around forests, which is a double-edged blade for us antiquarians. But I'm going to go along this road now and see if I can find a better look at this Grimsditch, and then perhaps also see the Roman road. I'm supposed to be on the Roman road now. I can see an agger, but bear in mind this is a paved, it is a modern track. But if it is the Roman road, the agger is there. It's raised up.